Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Woodward Fire Press Briefing. Today is Sunday, August 30th. My name is Mary Rasmussen, and I'm Information Officer with Northern Rockies Team 2. Today in our lineup, we're bringing you our air quality specialists. We've had a lot of questions about the smoke and the air quality. Before we start, I just wanted to remind everybody that we are broadcasting live on Zoom, the Point Reyes National Seashore Facebook page, also on YouTube, 2020 Woodward Fire Channel, the Community Media Center of Marin, TV Comcast Channel 27, and AT&T Channel 29. So today, in our lineup, we've got Brandon Chakowski, Operations Section Chief for the Northern Rockies Team 2, Jenny Perth, our Air Quality Specialist, Sergeant Breton Schneider is back, and we will also hear from Chief Jason Weber. So I'll turn it over to Brandon.
Morning, everybody. Another nice day here. Doing some talking with folks at too, looking at the camera there that's up on Mount Vision in the marine layer, as we may get a little faster burn off today than we have in the last couple days. That does kind of coincide with our weather forecast that we have for today, tomorrow, and then for sure as we look all the way out into Tuesday, Wednesday, our marine layer really shouldn't be as deep, and it should be eroding sooner in the day to allow us to finish up some operations here that we're looking at on the fire. Quick roundabout here on the fire in our division Zulu, down here just off of the ocean, basically on the west side of the fire. That's actually looking good. Still have 3 crews down in there. Dozer if it is needed, and the hose lay made it in yesterday. So kind of what that means is we're starting to do a lot of good mop up in that area. And also we do have a couple places in there in some of that tall scrub that we may be doing a little bit of burning operations, a little bit of black lining, if you will. And some folks have also asked what the difference is between some black lining and or burnout operations and backfiring. So it's kind of all has to do a little bit with the distance from the main fire edge to your control line. So burnout operations would be if you're at control line, like it is on the north side of the fires, is definitely a ways away. And in this case, you know, we kind of started some operations south of the Limitor Road, doing some burning approximately, you know, a mile away from that. Basically, as we gently start to work that fire through there with some aviation resources to bring it down. So it's kind of a distance thing when you look at that versus like a black lining operation or, you know, some sort of a small burnout operations. You're generally only talking a few hundred feet or a couple hundred yards, kind of a distance thing, a smaller scale operation versus a larger scale operation. But the hose that made it into Zulu came from Charlie up there on top. And it's approximately a little over 2 miles worth of hose in there. You know, that's 1.5 inch hose, so being supported by a couple of Type 1 water tenders, and of course crews in there doing all that mop up, moving hose around, and taking care of a lot of the hot spots that are in that area, so that as we move on in time, we'll be able to decrease resources in that area because we'll have it mopped up. All the heat will be out of it, so to a point where we don't have to worry about it getting out and escaping our control lines with the hotter weather coming up and the winds. So, you know, the western side over there is looking really good here up to the top. When we come around the top, we put a dozer line in, kind of went down the horse trail there from Z Ranch and then went down into Limitor Road. One of the operations we're looking at today is actually to do some more some burning along Limitor Road and that dozer line. A lot of that's very dependent upon that marine layer and timing. We do look at being able to get that started today. Whether we'll be able to finish that or not is definitely up to the weather. That section we're looking at doing is, you know, roughly 1.5 miles or 1.6 miles long. So it's a pretty good chunk of ground in there that we're looking at. But we do have very advantageous weather today, tomorrow, and our weather Tuesday, Wednesday is going to be getting be hotter, and so we want to try to get it done before then. Then we'll be able to start kind of testing our lines with a little bit warmer temperatures. So we're planning on doing that operation today up Limitor Road and part of that dozer line. We may have to finish some of that tomorrow, depending on timing, fire behavior, because we're wanting to keep the fire on the ground and work out only the understory fuels and have a good, more of an understory burn and a little bit more of a mosaic landscape out there. So a lot of good work going on there. This other piece, as we come behind the visitor center and the dozer line, things are looking good there from some burning that was done yesterday. Night shift did have a couple trees come over the dozer line there behind the visitor center last night, but there was no issues or concerns. It got picked up pretty quick and taken care of there. So as we continue down, basically the Bear Valley Trail, we've done quite a bit of burning with just hand lighting along the road, and that's been moving up the slope for us. And we've also done some aerial ignition with the drone the last few days and trying to fill in some pockets. As we look at some of the map here, and if folks eventually you'll see some of this through some other digital formats, is there are some various different areas out here of these harder red blocks versus some purple blocks, and those are come through some interpretation of the infrared data that was done with the NIROPS flight last night. A lot of times we get a better infrared data than this, but due to the heavy marine layer, that technology has a hard time looking through that cloud layer that has all that moisture in there and give us that clean data. One of the things that we will be doing with our the infrared on the smaller drone later today, when we get a little bit warmer temperatures and that marine layer moves out, is we will be coming into this area basically on the east side of the fire and the east side of the fire and west of Bear Valley Trail, and really looking in there as to where we have fire on the ground, how good our consumption is, to be able to put, bring basically as an outline of the fire's edge should be getting back down closer to our control line. That's what we're already seeing out of there, but we really want to get some deeper proof of that, some more footage, et cetera, to make sure what we know we've been doing in the ground is actually taking, and we're getting good depth off of our control line. So a lot of good activities. The hand line is still holding very well down here, basically coming off the coast there on the east side. That's looking good. And as we rise in containment, reported at 15%. We grabbed there some good containment line coming up to the Baldy Trail. They're down here in this Division Whiskey, basically that east side over there coming off the coast. The containment overall in this incident, this piece down here, I'm going to move back over that Division Zulu west side of the fire off the coast. The next day or so, we'll start to see some additional containment in that area as we're able to move through that coastal scrub and get that taken care of and mopped up and looking good so it doesn't escape. We have some other things with the burning going on today. Our structure protection group and the resources assigned to them are actively engaged in our operation and making sure things are good. A lot of this is very close to the private residence here. One of the structures there is less than a quarter mile away from Limitor Road to the north in the Silver Hills Fox area. And so we definitely have a lot of resources poised and ready, and we're actively working with Marin County Fire to make sure that we're set up for success with the resources that we need to look at keeping the fire where we want it, and where we want it in that operation basically is south of that Limitor Road coming off of the visitor center. Thank you.
Hello, good morning. Jenny Perth, an Air Resource Advisor on Woodward Fire, and I wanted to talk to you a little bit about smoke and air quality. I wanted to start with the air quality index, which you've probably heard a lot about, but I wanted to explain it a little bit. There's 6 levels in the air quality index. The first level corresponding to good air quality, the 6th corresponding to hazardous. and everything in between. And there's also a color code associated with it. So green is good, yellow is moderate, red is unhealthy, and so on. And you've probably heard it referred to in two different ways. You're going to have your daily AQI, and then real-time AQI. And so usually what's reported, like on the news, is the daily AQI. And it's just what it sounds like. It's a 24-hour average of the PM2.5 concentration. And so it might seem lower than you think, that it's taking it throughout the day. So most of you might be more interested in the real-time AQIs and how do you find that? And so that leads me into the different kinds of monitors and the different websites that you can go to. So there's basically three types of monitors. There's the permanent monitors, usually EPA monitors, and those are quality controlled. They're there year-round, have maintenance, and so that is what is used for the daily AQI. The only monitors that are used for that. Then we have temporary monitors that are similar to the EPA monitors, but they're brought in fire situations where we can fill the gap, where there may be a big gap between a couple of monitors, or there's a particular community that's being impacted that we want to put a monitor in. And then there's also low-cost monitors, which a lot of you have heard of the purple airs, and I wanted to explain some of the differences with the purple airs and the other monitors, and how to use the information coming from both of those. There's a lot of purple airs out there, which is great. It's a great resource. So if you go to the Purple Air website, that is taking uncorrected data. It's still very good. I mean, you can still use it for trending. It's really good for trending. It'll track right along with the EPA monitors, but it typically is going to read high. Sometimes it reads low. So don't take those values as the accurate values. But so the EPA has implemented a correction factor, which is great. And so we can actually, you can use those, but you can't get that on the Purple Air website. So what we're doing is we're pulling in all of the Purple Air data. So if you put up a Purple Air, we should have it incorporated into our website within a couple of days. You can access all the Purple Air monitors that are out there. And that correction factor is applied. So it's going to be much more accurate, and it's going to be shown with the temporary monitors and the permanent monitors all in one spot. So I'd recommend, if you want more accurate values, like right now, what is the air quality, I would go to that website, which is fire.airnow.gov, and that will be available to you on the information report there. But that's a great site where you can look at all these monitors, and there might be a Purple Air monitor right near you, and it'll just be more accurate from that site than on the Purple Air website. And so that is pretty much all I had for today. Unless you have any questions, you can contact me. My contact information is on the Smoke Outlook, which come out every day. And you can access that on the information page as well, I believe. And in those forecasts, we forecast for 2 days. We forecast for the current day and the next day. And we use more than just the monitors. We do a lot of modeling. We take in the fire activity information, vegetation, everything, to try to accurately predict what kind of smoke impacts you're going to have for both the communities and for the firefighters. So thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Brendan Schneider with the Sheriff's Office. So I was going to talk to you a little bit today about the evacuation warnings that are still in place and the one order. Yesterday, you probably saw that we lifted the evacuation warning area for everything from Five Brooks south, which would include the community of Bolinas. So that area is still no longer under a warning. However, everything north of Five Brooks to the west of Highway 1 all the way up to Lagunitas Creek, which would include the community of Olima, is still under a warning. And then we still have our order in place for Silver Hills, Fox Drive, and Norrin Way. And that would include the communities north of Silver Hills, which would be Inverness, Inverness Park, Drakes View, and Sea Haven. I know we've seen a lot online that people want to know why we haven't restricted the areas that are under warning to non-local traffic. And the answer to that is that we really can't unless there's a life or safety hazard. And because those areas are under warning, we aren't allowed to physically restrict people from coming to those areas, like Stinson Beach or other beaches in the area. So we hear you, but unfortunately there's a law that prevents us from just closing down random locations to outside traffic. There is still an evacuation center that is open because Silver Hills is under an order. The evacuation center is at the Marin Center at 10 Avenue of the Flags in Santa Fe. And like Lieutenant Collins said the last 2 days, conversations are still taking place about lifting of the warnings and possibly the orders, but we just can't do that until we feel comfortable that this area is not going to be an issue. So once we are having those conversations daily, it's something that we constantly talk about throughout the day, but know that these warnings and the order are going to stay in place until we're confident that that's no longer going to be an issue. So we are having those conversations, and we look forward to hopefully getting you guys back to your houses soon and lifting those warnings, but we won't do so until it's safe. Thank you.
Good morning, Jason Weber, Marin County Fire Chief. I want to thank Brandon and Brenton for the updates. Brandon talked about the fire itself and the work we have to do over the next few days, which is critical in order to put enough black line in this fire so we feel comfortable as the weather changes that these lines will hold. So a lot of great work's going into that. These next few days are really important for us. You heard about the smoke and the air quality piece. It's going to be with us for a little while here. This is in timber and heavy fuel. Those are challenging, and we understand that and appreciate it. And again, I just want to reemphasize how much we appreciate the support of the community and everybody that's come together to button this up and get some good work done. Thank you all for your patience. And again, for those in the Inverness Park area, North Marin Water District customers, Inverness customers, please don't turn on your sprinklers randomly. And if you are under an order, please don't leave your sprinkler systems on. The water systems can't handle that, and we'll need the water for ourselves. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Just a couple of reminders that Brandon talked about the burning operations, and on our INSEE website, we have uploaded some pictures and video of what that looks like. And there's a slide at the end of this briefing that shows you the link to INSEE Web where you can find and search the Woodward fire. Also, with air quality information, we have a link to that on our daily update, which is posted on the Facebook site. It also is posted in INSEE Web, so you can find, you can get a direct link to air quality information there. Also, this briefing is being recorded, so you can find the recording on Facebook and again on our YouTube channel, which is 2020 Woodward Fire. And in closing, I just wanted to give you some of our daily statistics. The fire is 3,072 acres. We have 15% containment, and we have our resources include 13 engines, 13 crews, 33 engines, 5 helicopters. We have 4 airplanes that are available to us today, and 3 masticators. That concludes today's press briefing, and we will see you tomorrow. And if you do want to email us any questions you have that we can to tailor our briefing to you, you can email us at 2020.woodward@firenet.gov, and we will post that on our Facebook page so that you have that email. Thank you, and see you tomorrow.